It's always exciting when new parts arrive because it means I can move forward on some projects that I want to get done, that need to get done. First set are some rotary encoders. These you'll see in a lot of MIDI controllers where instead of a potentiometer, these are continuous spin. So the microcontroller that gets hooked to it says, oh, you moved it 3 to the right or 4 to the left, or things like that. It's very commonly used. Here I'm working on a project for Octatrack to simplify some of the more complicated functions so the user doesn't have to go through a bunch of menus on Octatrack, but instead could use the MIDI mapping capabilities of that device. So note mapping and delay controls, slices and slots, that sort of thing will be controlled through the simplified controller. Now I'm going to be doing these in modules of 4. The actual one will probably have 8 or 16 or maybe even more, but I'm doing it in sets of 4 so that for well, quite frankly, because it's easier for me to deal with the 3D printed parts. Once you start getting beyond about 8 inches, it becomes a big problem. So this will be 4, and then there'll be another 4 next to it, something like that. Now, what I did find, even though the spacing of this is good, and these are from Adafruit, the highly recommended supplier of electronic stuff if you're doing DIY maker. And these are on a 1-inch footprint, so are good for the distance. I think this is a pretty good distance. The only trouble I have with them is that you could either solder it, which I have no problem with, but I was hoping to be able to use the quick connectors, which are just little jumper cables, so not a lot of soldering. It's more plugging in stuff, which makes things easier and replaceable, fixable. But as you can see, these things are going to butt right next to each other, and so I'm not going to be able to do that. Now what it did do, Adafruit also makes, it was out of stock last week, it's back in stock this week, is a board that has 4 of them on there. It's a little smaller, it squishes the 4 into 3 inches instead of this 4 inches here. But the thing is that they're already all connected on the same board, so I don't have the wiring problem that I have here. So I'm waiting on those to come in. So this is going to be very exciting. I have at least the rotary encoders in these single forms, so I can start coding and make sure that I could write the code for Octatrack. I'm sure I can, because I'm confident in my skills. So I'll be able to move forward with that part of it, which is probably going to be the biggest part. This is one of the projects where probably the software is going to be more complicated than the hardware. So that's it for this one, and I got another video coming up showing what these guys are.